Ranma 1/2 is the manga turned anime adventures of a fellow named Ranma who fell into a cursed well and becomes a girl whenever he gets hit with cold water. And then there's a whole bunch of fighting that happens because anything goes martial arts or whatever. I'll be honest, I've never seen the show, I've never read the manga, I'm largely ignorant of the lore, which is apparently quite expansive. But I've heard of Ranma. I know it got a few fighting games under its belt, and as far as I know, one of them actually made it to local shores. Ranma 1/2 Hard Battle for Super Nintendo. But we're not looking at that one. Instead, we're looking at Ranma 1/2 Chounai Gekitou Hen, released in 1992 for the Nintendo Super Famicom computer. The first such Ranma game actually did make it over stateside, but as a completely different game called Street Combat, which replaced all the characters with other characters. Some would call this action sacrilege and disrespect, but if I may be so bold, it's probably a good thing that this Ranma game got turned into Street Combat for reasons that you shall soon see. Oh, and for those wondering why I'm reviewing a game about a show that I know nothing about, well, it wouldn't be the first time now, would it? But once upon a time, Street Combat was a subject of a prior video review thing, and Street Combat is a, quite frankly, rubbish game. And since that game was basically a rehash of this game, I was curious to see if localization was the issue in what made that game bad, or if the game in general was a lemon from the get-go. Ranma 1/2 Chounai Gekitou Hen, which apparently translates to I don't know according to Google Translate, which is quite funny actually. Could be wrong, but honestly I don't care. Puts you in control of Ranma, and you must fight your way past 6 other fighters in Street Combat using a variety of punches, kicks, throws, and special moves that are done with very simplistic inputs. You could choose to play as Ranma in either male or female form, which makes very little difference because, well, to hell with it. Let's recycle some old audio because I quite frankly don't care. Go. This game is hideous, and it starts with control, which comprises a punch button, a kick button, a special attack button, and a jump button. Yes, another fighting game where you don't press up to jump, and while you do have a special attack button to perform a special attack, you also have an arsenal of special moves that can be performed with various button combinations, such as up and punch or back and kick. Not exactly quarter circle forwards or charge moves. Truth be told, you only really need to use the special attack since it can knock down your opponent fairly easily. Trying to learn any other special moves is pointless since collision detection is almost something of a foreign concept. Suffice to say, some hits will register, others will not. And on a whole, the combat engine is so goddamn worthless that it's not even close to being larkable. It's so bad, this plays better. The jumping is bad enough with the button that you have to press, but it's also the kind of jump that would feel awkward in a side-scrolling platformer, much less a straight-up one-on-one fighting game. It's the kind of jump that feels both loose and stiff at the same time, if that makes any sense to anybody out there. It just feels really awkward and unnatural. Also, there's no character select screen, you just start a game and it's straight to the versus screen. Now, despite not having a character select screen up front, you could still switch characters to play as by holding the L and R triggers on your gamepad on the versus screen, of course, and using the D-pad to cycle through the cast of characters. But you'd have no way of knowing you could switch between the two versions or anybody else unless you had the manual, which I do not. So you pick this game up loose, you play it, your brain cells turn to shit, and it's only until much later that you discover you could actually switch characters. And now we add in new audio, which is good because we're not playing a repackaged version of Ranma 1/2. We're actually playing Ranma 1/2, and all those awkward character animations that looked stupid in Street Combat actually make sense in the anime-ish fighting game. Well, it probably makes more sense if you're familiar with the source material at least, but still some of these animations are amusing and cute. Context makes a hell of a difference. The character designs seem to match those of the source material. You know, shampoo looks like shampoo and things of that nature. Suddenly the comical nature makes sense when it's anime stuff and not... never mind. Another step up is the sound. You have the usual array of weak sound effects and generic grunts, although the grunts are dependent on the character, I think. Music, on the other hand, is better than it was in Street Combat. A little more upbeat, a little more cheerful, a little more pleasant. I wouldn't know if any of the tunes are based on music from the anime or whatever. I'm sure fans will know more in this regard, but even so, it fits the comical atmosphere that the game portrays. Still, while the visuals and sounds are appropriate for the manga and anime it's based on, it doesn't mean much when at its core, Ranma 1/2 Chounai Gekitou Hen is a pretty worthless video game that was spared an international indignity by being changed into street combat. Whether it's anime cuteness or ill-fitting urban toughness, the wretched gameplay is what kills the overall package and places this game firmly in the lower tier of dreadfully mediocre fighting games to grace the Super Family computer. Ranma fans might dig this one, for some reason, but for those wanting a quality fighter on the system, look elsewhere. Anywhere else.